Well, the weather here is getting nicer, the day's longer, and we are finally enjoying more freedom and time outside. But there's another way to boost your mood and stay fit, and that is simply walking. Let's take this to Dr. Joe Kostrich. Now, Dr. Joe, how many steps should we be doing in a day?
Yeah, good afternoon, Jerry. Look, the standard figure has always been 10,000 steps a day, although interestingly, if you drill down, there's not actually much science behind that. So arguably, the more you do, the better. I mean, again, we've got to do other things in the day, so we can't walk 24/7. This latest work, though, was particularly interesting because the people only went for a walk for 15 minutes once a week. Which is, look, that's good, and if that's what you can manage, then clearly it's better than nothing. But even at that level, there was a number of benefits, both physical and for mental health, for those people, particularly, and this is the key to the research, if they're doing it in a natural environment. So this means getting out into a park, maybe by the beach, somewhere in the bush, rather perhaps than on a treadmill in a gym.
Yeah, really interesting. 10,000 steps is a lot. I look at my health app on the iPhone. I don't get that most days. So what actually happens to our bodies when we do walk more?
Look, when we do, obviously it's good for our physical health, so it helps our blood pressure, it's good for the lungs, good for heart circulation. There's also been a lot of work that it shows, we know it's good for the bones and for the muscles. Also good for our mood, lower rates of depression and anxiety in people who do regular exercise. Interestingly, and this is something, you know, in researching this story for you today, I've learned a new term called phytoncides, which are chemicals released by trees. And this gets back to the walking in nature, that are partly to ward off insects. And if we're out walking in bush areas, maybe like in Kings Park or Bold Park or any areas where there's, you know, trees and plants, that these chemicals released from trees help boost our immune system. So yeah, another little bonus.
Very interesting. So you touched a bit on about how walking out in nature is important. What about walking, the speed you're walking? Do you have to do it fast?
Look, it really doesn't matter, and it's about doing what you can. So for people who haven't been doing much exercise for whatever reason, then look, you want to start off at a rate and a distance that you can cope with. But the more often you do it and the further you go, then you'll be able to go for longer and for further. And if you want to kick up the pace a little bit, then, you know, obviously you can do that as well. Interestingly, this research also showed that if you look around you, so when you're out and about, if you're looking up maybe at the sky, looking at birds, looking at trees, they sort of encouraged people to look for something that was maybe not awesome but impressive. The people in that group, their emotional health was much improved and they were less stressed and worried, because you just sort of take a step back and think, wow, you know, it's a bird flying. Now you can look at it and think, well, that's just humdrum, or you can think, wow, isn't that just something amazing I've seen today?
Yep, I can attest to that. I've just been to Broome and did a lot of walking on Cable Beach, and my mood was right up there. Okay, so we all run busy lives though, back at work now, harder to do. Any tips on how we can fit more in?
Look, it's always about prioritising, Jerry. We all have 24 hours in the day, and it's how we elect to use them. So, you know, we can take 15 minutes from maybe our social media or screen time and, you know, devote that for going out for a walk. And you know what? We can leave the phone at home. It'll still be there when we get back.
Good on you, Dr. Joe. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.